Hi, I am Tabatha Bowers. The title of my poster is The Effects of Personality Traits on Coping with Stress and Alcohol Consumption. I worked with Veronica Conway in this project as part of an assignment for Eastern Oregon University capstone for psychology program. The Going into this, Veronica and I kind of had the same thoughts that there was not a lot of information out there in regards to whether or not alcohol consumption actually is a coping mechanism for stress for those with certain personality types. We really thought there would be like one certain personality type, whether it be extroversion, openness, agreeableness, so forth, that would have an increased alcohol consumption when placed under stress. So basically what we did is we gathered 20 participants, 10 from Idaho where Veronica lives, in a very small town, and 10 from where in Tennessee where I live, not a very large city, but quite a few in population. We have the University of Tennessee here, and I live and work close to the downtown area. So what I did was stand outside of a local grocery store that is convenient to the downtown area as well as the students, and then also the outlying areas of downtown, to make sure that we had a good sample of participants. All of the participants were over the age of 21 and were not considered to be recovering alcoholics. We ask that all the participants complete the Big Five personality test, a survey about their drinking habits, survey about their stress levels, and then complete the Stroop test. The first thing we did, and this is all on paper, is the Big Five personality test, which consisted of 44 questions. What this did was allow us to see what sort of personality traits each participant had. They were labeled as either being open, being extroverted, being conscientious, or being agreeable. Then, and that is something that Veronica and it was a rating scale, and then you calculate everything, and Veronica and I did the calculations ourselves and input the information as far as personality traits into our spreadsheet. We moved on and we did the drinking habits over the past 6 months. That's just an easy 10-question survey about how many drinks each participant consumed on an average basis, how many times they binge drank, and things like that. And then we did the 21 question survey in regards to the stress levels. So how they deal with stress, whether they actually get stressed out easily or if that's something that they really maintain, is low stress. And then we did the Stroop test. In the Stroop test, there were 200 words. The first 100 of the words were written in the same color of ink as the word, while the other 200 were written in a different color of ink than what the word was. So for instance, the color brown was written in brown for the first 100 words, while the second 100 words were different, such as purple being written in green. The participants were broke up in half, so we did 10 participants that were under condition and 10 were not. 10 participants completed the Stroop test at their own pace. and then their errors were recorded. So how many they got incorrect while completing it on their own time. While the other 10 participants were placed under time pressure or just a more hectic situation. Veronica, for her participants who were part of the condition, were around her kids while her kids were loud and active and things like that around her. For my condition participants, I didn't walk off from the side of the grocery store. I stayed kind of in the front of the door where people were coming and going. So looking at how all of the graphs are placed, I went very basic on the first two graphs. I was really curious to see how the alcohol usage and stress dispersed among the personality traits. So looking at the graph on the bottom left-hand corner of the poster here is where I looked at stress levels. So looking at this, you would think that openness generally has a higher stress level next to agreeableness and so forth. While alcohol usage, agreeableness is higher, and not too far behind is conscientiousness and openness. Then I moved on and ran the regression analysis and got the graph at the top here in the middle. This took all of the scenarios and placed them together. So it's the alcohol usage predicted by personality traits and stress levels. So does alcohol usage increase or decrease depending on alcohol and stress together? Looking at it, the openness shows as stress levels increase, so does the alcohol usage, while the other three personality traits showed either staying pretty much the same or decreasing, so the alcohol usage decreased as the stress level increased. The results that I got from running the different analysis here show that none of the information is actually related. So despite what the graphs on the bottom show on the left and right, it is not the case. So looking under the chi-square, there is not, I looked at the personality traits and the Stroop errors. So the personality traits is independent of the Stroop errors. So it didn't matter what personality trait the participant had. It had no relation to the Stroop errors that we saw. And then running the ANOVA, I looked at stress levels and personality traits, and then alcohol usage as well. So the stress levels are not related to personality traits. So personality trait did not determine whether or not a participant had a higher or lower stress level. And the same is true for the alcohol usage, in addition to an interaction of both the alcohol usage and the stress. And then the regression analysis that I did showed that alcohol usage cannot be predicted by personality traits or stress levels. So the hypothesis where Veronica and I thought that alcohol consumption is a coping mechanism, so the alcohol consumption would increase as the stress level increased for certain personality types. That is not the case according to the analysis ran. So, in the end, as stated, the hypothesis is rejected. What we thought was the case is most certainly not.